I sort of had a speech prepared, so I thought of
Come to the dark side.
Meanwhile,
like literally, when I get harassment that actually is original, I kind of have this moment of like, oh, cool, you tried, right? Because the thing is, it's just all the same, right? So, you know, it was very similar to a lot of the other women that I've seen online get harassed, right? Like we kind of buckle down and we expect it, which is such a horrible place to be. And then when I launched a Kickstarter to fund a series of videos that would look at women in video games is when my life completely changed. And I had a massive cyber mob come after me, and they have still been after me for the last 5 years. And I think intersectionality is a really important point here, because the way that women of color and the way that trans women and the way women with disabilities get attacked online is different, and it's compounded by all of these different intersections. Yeah, and so I think it's a conversation that needs to keep happening, right? If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos that just say the same shit over and over again. I need to give you attention because you're a garbage human. Whatever, dude. But it's, you know, like the fact that these dudes are making endless videos that just go after every feminist over and over and over again, I think is a part of the issue of why we have to have these conversations. We don't just get to be online. We don't just get to participate like everyone else.
This is weird because my whole message is just be yourself, but apparently like it's not safe for everyone to do that all the time. So I think probably my advice would be stay safe first and then be yourself. Right?
I have a serious question for everybody up there. Why do you guys act like only women face harassment online?
I don't think anyone's...
You guys constantly feed the troll. And look, the majority of the people here are your trolls because they like to see you freak out about it. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. You're feeding
I mean, even
trolls.
your language, like freak out about, like no.
See, you're just mocking me.
If you talk about one community facing harassment, that's not to say that no other communities face any harassment.
See, you're harassing me right now when I'm.
Can we please remove this question of the line?
Now look.
Next question. I'm answering. Next question, please. Hi.
Hi, it's Jesus.
So yeah, Jesus, tell us what you think about Anita's performance at VidCon.
Well, I mean, who am I to judge? But I did see a little bit of hypocrisy in what she had to say. You know, I'm sure there's maybe a little bit more context that I need to be aware of, but come on, really, turn the other cheek, be like you, don't do anything I wouldn't do, come on.
What are these girls doing? They're taking a stand against inequality. They're also taking a whiz. That's how. Does this look equal to you? We're both just peeing. Female friends everywhere. For years, you have not been able to pee freely, but today, you are free to pee as you please. With the great equalizer of men and women, Ms. Whiz. Ms. Whiz is a female urination device. The modern woman's weapon against inequality and unsanitary toilets. She's the quick, clean, comfortable way to go when you can't or don't want to sit. Just hold Ms. Wiz over your business and stand going to the bathroom before. We guarantee you can stand going to the bathroom now.
Listen up. There's still not equal pay for equal work anywhere in the world. And it seems most women are not even angry about it. But we should be. So let's set a new goal. From now on, equal pay is no longer enough. Because women need more. Our haircuts are more expensive. Our underwear is ridiculously more expensive. It's simply more expensive to be a woman than to be a man. Should we seriously get paid less than someone who applies body lotion to his face? He doesn't need a new outfit for every new occasion. He doesn't even know that the shoes make the outfit. Oh, the joy of choosing the right shoe. Fashion is expressing yourself. And what every stylish woman is expressing is that equal pay is not enough. Equal pay is not enough.
Here at Darlington, students learn to push through boundaries. How to make an impact. And really leave a mark. Because here at Darlington, if you touch a girl without consent, we will f you up.
The director of controversial documentary The Red Pill is in Australia to promote her film, which has sparked protests and been banned by Australian cinemas for being anti-women. But Cassie J claims that she was a feminist who changed her views on gender equality while making the film about men's rights movement. The documentary has been slammed by women's groups as misogynist propaganda. And Cassie J joins us now. Thanks for being with us, Cassie. There seems to be two issues here. There is the issue of the film's content that some disagree with, and then there's the issue of freedom of speech. So let's deal with that. Are you dismayed that some people won't be able to see the film and make up their own minds because of the protests, specifically here in Australia?
Absolutely. I think people need to see the film in order to have an opinion about the film, and unfortunately in Australia we've had so many screenings pulled from theatres that it's preventing Australians from being able to see the film for themselves.
Yeah, which, you know, as you say, sort of restricts the conversation that we're able to have around this. Now, on the content of the film, Cassie, I mean, I think it's really interesting and it's important probably to highlight some of the issues that men are facing in the modern world that they feel are, you know, really holding them back or getting them down. But can I ask you this? If you wanted to make a film about the issues facing the modern man, why did you have to focus on the views of these extreme misogynists of the men's right movement, people like Paul Elam? Why do you highlight men's issues by promoting men who minimise women's issues?
Well, you have to see the film to see why I interviewed Paul Elam, because I had been a feminist of about 10 years before making the Red Pill movie, and all my previous work was about women's issues or gender, LGBT rights, gay marriage, that sort of thing. I've always been interested in gender politics, and I came across Paul Elam's writings on avoiceformen.com, and I was shocked and appalled and offended as a feminist woman. And so I decided to make a film about a voice for men and the men's rights movement and you know, the large scope of that, because no one had ever made a film about the men's rights movement before. And so I interviewed 44 different people for this film, feminists and men's rights activists. And, you know, it's a very complicated topic when looking at men's issues.
It is, you're absolutely right. But it just seems to me that you don't really question their views in the film.
Did you see the film?
Well, we saw as much as we could because your publicist wouldn't send us the full thing.
I sent you the screener link actually to the full film.
So we watched as much as we could, yeah. But
you could also buy the film on Google Play, Vimeo, and
we
Amazon
tried to do that and we couldn't.
Be that as it may, you know, it just seems from what I have seen of the film, there's not a lot of questioning of some of their views. That's all.
Yes, there is. Absolutely. If you've seen the film, you would see the questions that I asked and their answers. And this film is not propaganda. I'm not promoting any kind of view that the viewer should take away. It's simply a journey looking at what men's rights activists have to say, what the feminist rebuttal is, and the audience is able to make up their own mind.
Well, just on Paul Elam and about the questions that you asked him, did you ask him about his writings where he had encouraged people to go out and bash women?
Yes,
or about
I did ask
his
him
rape
about
apology?
all of that.
But was that included in the film? And what did he say about that? And did you agree with his original writings on that?
I do not agree with his approach and his kind of provocateur approach to these issues, but at the same time, the way that he tries to get people to listen is by offending them to get them to read his website. And, you know, ironically enough, that's what got me to make the film was I was offended by him, and so I looked deeper. I went down the rabbit hole, and that's the Red Pill movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've done a lot of reading around Paul Elam over the years. In fact, we've interviewed Paul Elam, and there's no denying that a lot of what he says is deeply misogynist. My concern, Cassie, is just is that in setting up these guys as the spokesman for the issues that men face, we promote an opposition between men and feminism that's counterproductive to the genders working together to solve everyone's problems.
My film looks at what men's rights activists have to say, all the different voices and approaches to this conversation, and what feminists have to say, and it's just allowing the viewers to make up their own mind. I think we have to have this conversation about what is going on for men in family courts and male disposability and falling behind in education and paternity rights and all of these things.
I totally agree that they are all conversations worth having. Why not have them with regular men, not guys who are in charge of the most misogynistic, anti-woman, anti-feminist organisations in the world?
I interviewed Dr. Warren Farrell, who is very even-minded. I also interviewed Mark Angelucci, an attorney who works on behalf of men's issues. I interviewed Fred Hayward, who is a father who lost his custody of his son. I interviewed plenty of very sound-minded people in the film, men's rights activists. Paul Elam is certainly one of the most, you know, eccentric voices in the movement.
Sure.
And I, of course, have to show him.
Okay. Cassie, why did you decide to renounce your feminism after this and say that you're not a feminist anymore?
Well, you have to see the film to see what led me down there.
For all the people that haven't seen the film, can you just explain why you were not after just equality? Because isn't that what feminism is, just equality?
Well, I am for gender equality. I absolutely care about women's issues and girls being empowered full-handedly. That is my innate passion in life, was looking into women's issues. That's why I spent 10 years making films about women's issues, and I still hold true to that. But feminism is an ideology that really wants to keep the blinders on, just looking at women and girls' issues and blaming men for women and girls' problems. And they don't look at male victims, and I think we need to look at male victims if we're talking about gender equality.
Of course.
Sure.
I mean, I think you could be feminist and still, you know, look at men's problems. I mean, you're talking about a very, very small slice of feminism that's got blinders on. It's like saying all feminists are like, you know, it's like saying all women who are feminists are like the men's rights movements representing all men.
Feminism does blame men by the use of the word patriarchy to blame men for all the ills of the world. So feminism even blames men for their own issues, blaming it on patriarchy, so it's the fault of men. And it's a way to dismiss men's issues by blaming men for their own problems.
I don't think it's inherently blameful. But anyway,
all right, Cassie J.
It's an interesting discussion, a really interesting discussion, Cassie.
Thank you for being with us.
I would like to say I'm for gender equality. I'm for women's rights and men's rights now. And I'm not a men's rights activist, and the film was not funded by MRAs. That is a lie that's being perpetuated by Australian media. TheRedPillMovie.com.
All right, terrific.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, well worth viewing.
Yeah, if you can get on to see it, which we haven't been able to on several occasions. All right.
The reason that women aren't getting paid the same isn't ultimately because women don't ask right. It's because there's massive structural barriers stopping women from being paid the same. And it's not just about overt sexism in the workplace, it's about the fact that we don't value carers, and we don't share care.
Anne's spleen is about to erupt. Anne, what is your response to that? the pay gap does not mean two people standing side by side, one man, one woman, on a factory line, doing exactly the same job, and the man getting more. The way that the comparability of the pay gap is assessed is taking into account such things as women tend to work more part-time, then trying to take two completely separate jobs and say, well, what are the attributes required, and trying to get some sort of false comparability. Well, we've come to that point now, from a point in which you really could have two people side by side doing exactly the same thing, lawfully being paid completely different rates. Well, so I don't actually buy into this. Our problem is this. We've actually got equality and we don't know what to do with it. So now we want special favours like positive discrimination. Oh, bless us all.
You talk about law school, and I think it's interesting to note because I think we're both feminists.
I never considered myself a feminist. All during my professional career, whether it be a lawyer or a judge, I never belonged to a woman's organization. I didn't want to be, I wasn't a woman lawyer. I was a lawyer who happened to be a woman, and I wasn't a woman judge. I was a judge who happened to be a woman. I actually never felt, probably I was too stupid to know that I was held back at any time because of my gender. And I still don't feel as if there was any time in my life when I thought that being a woman held me back. You define yourself. If you let other people define you, that's a mistake. So I never felt the need to have a feminine organization behind me, although I'm sure that in some way they were assistance to me along the way.
I think it's funny, you know, I think of feminism as the social, political, and economic equality for men and women. So, you know, I wish people would embrace the term because I think it's gotten a bad rap. So it's interesting for me to hear you say it's almost like you don't want to be associated with feminism.
No, because I don't think a movement, actually, Katie, helped me. Being part of an organization never defined me.
They call me man spreader. It's a badge I wear with pride, 'cause nothing feels better than the separation of my thighs. I wouldn't move for my own mother, don't care how much you beg. I gotta make space, baby, so I spread my legs.